From there, again, most of the bosses can be taken down relatively quickly with Metal Man's weapon. We'll go Flash Man next. He also gets shredded pretty quickly by the Metal Blade. Now we've gone into sort of a subterranean cave, and I slip and slide kind of like ice on blocks here. Remember which the optimal paths to go on. Flashman's theme is one of my favorites. It's a really good song. It's got a kind of slick and funky feel to it, just like his level. One thing I'll definitely hand it to the composer, and I don't remember who did the music for the NES Mega Man games. I'd have to look it up. But their choice of instrumentals always seemed very thematically fitting to me. It's probably why you see lots of covers and remixes of Mega Man 2 music from artists online. It's just a solid soundtrack all the way through. Let's see if I'm remembering the optimal routes here. These walker guys, the little riders, they would show up in more than one of the Mega Man games, if I remember correctly. Ah, would have got me an energy tank? Yeah. Oh well. I'm running low on health though. I'm just gonna keep going. We'll see if I can take down Flashman without losing a life here. Flashman's deal is relatively straightforward. Kind of just jumps around the room, he shoots you, and had I given him more than 2 seconds on screen, he would have used his special weapon, the Time Stopper, to freeze my movement. He would have shot at me. But he's also weak to the Metal Blade, so he didn't even get a chance to use his weapon. Yeah, Time Stopper. That weapon will be useful later. Some of the weapons you get from the bosses have an additional bonus, I guess it'd be an additional weapon you get. The items 1, 2, and 3, which are mobility or transportation secondary weapons you can use. And I'll demonstrate what item 3 does once I get into the next level. They're helpful for getting around stages, and they can make getting through hazards easier or even help on some bosses. We'll go to Woodman next. This guy is also pretty weak to the Metal Blade. And Woodman's level theme is awesome. I don't think there's any tracks I dislike in this game. It may be easier just to get that out now so I'm not gushing constantly about the soundtrack every time we go to a new level. But as the name would suggest, for Woodman, we're now in a forested area fighting Bubble Bats, which are a pretty iconic enemy from the Mega Man series. They show up in a bunch of things. The rabbit robot things, I don't know if they have what their official name is, but they shoot carrot missiles at you. Now we are inside a tree. We have these guys, which I think they are appropriately called hot dogs, which have a pretty neat detailed sprite. And they're not too bad to deal with, but the flames do a decent amount of damage. It looks like 4 or so pips on my bar. Maybe easier just to go Metal Blade again. Ooh, went up. I don't remember off the top of my head if getting a game over causes my energy tanks to be deleted. I guess we'll find out. Now we've got robot gorillas and these bird launchers, which are very annoying. If you don't take them out before they drop their payload, the eggs hatch into a bunch of swarmer little baby birds. They can ruin your day, especially on Airman stage, which we'll see in a bit. There's a carrot missile. Think of the NES Mega Man titles. I have not played the first one a ton. I'll have to go back and play that at some point. The second and third ones I played the most. I played 4, I played 5, and 6, but 2 and 3 are the ones I know the best of all of them. And now we're on Woodman. His deal is he summons a shield, drops leaves from the ceiling, and sort of jumps at you. And because of the frame rate on the game, I need to be sort of careful because it's hard to see. It's flickering in and out, but just like the last couple bosses, he is incredibly weak to the Metal Blade and also Heatman's weapon. If you come here with Heatman's weapon, I believe you can charge up and kill him in one hit. For Woodman, we get the Leaf Shield, and I'll demonstrate that one probably in the next level. It's more of a defensive weapon, but it's pretty useful. And we will go on to Airman. Airman is a pretty interesting character and has an interesting level and theme, but probably most interestingly enough is that Airman spawned some memes handful of years ago. I think it started on the Japanese video sites like Nico Nico Doga, but I remember seeing all of these memes based around Airman because of his difficulty, and in the Japanese version of the game, which I think is on hard mode by default, people talk about how difficult it was to beat Airman on the difficult mode, standard mode. And the meme that spawned was this whole idea of Airman being difficult to defeat. So if you Google or you search on YouTube the song Airman ga Taosenai, or I Can't Defeat Airman in Japanese, you get a bunch of songs that people had made all talking about the difficulty of fighting Airman, and it became this kind of reoccurring meme that I remember seeing, which I always thought was very interesting. It's a cool song. And not having known how ridiculous this game could be on difficult mode back in the day, that might be something I look at here as part of this Let's Play series. Again, depending on how long it takes me to run through the game on the quote-unquote normal mode, maybe I'll do a difficult run. We'll see. But overall, Airman's level is this series of sky platforms. The big head things you saw on the previous screen, I think they're called Air Tikkis. They just sort of float there, and you have to time your jumps while avoiding their horns, which do damage. And they shoot these little smaller robots out to harass you. Oh, man. One to one up. If you're not careful, you miss your jumps, you will fall right off the platform and die. And I know those more of those birds later on in this level. These large guys here with the fans in their stomachs that try and blow you off the platforms. Okay. Here's a good place to demonstrate the leaf shield. If we select it and hit the B button, it creates this orbiting series of leaves that stop incoming attacks. I don't know if it deflects bullets, but things, well, this isn't a really good example. For the birds, which are not dropping now for some reason, the little baby birds would get chewed up by the shield, and you can use them to farm for 1-ups if you really wanted to. But their carriers seem content to not drop them directly on me anymore, so we're just going to move on. And we are at the boss door. This is Airman. His deal is he blows tornadoes at you, which push you across the stage and block your cannon shots, and he sort of jumps at you, which we'll see in a sec. And he can be taken down pretty easy with the Mega Buster. His main weakness is Woodman's Leaf Shield, I believe. I wanted to attempt to do that with just the Buster as a kind of nod to that meme. Maybe if I do this on hard mode, I'll fight him first and we can see exactly how difficult he is. Airman also gives you another one of the mobility weapons, which I haven't tested out yet. He gives you item 2, which is the jet sled, I think. That's one of the more useful weapons as far as mobility is concerned. And we saw it on the previous screen. The weapon I got from Airman proper is the air shooter, and then the secondary one is item 2, which, let's see if I can test out in the next level.